Pike's pushed more and forward up ahead. He's got out of line. It's now Pike going to have a go at Werrell. Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start trouble. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Coming down to
Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
Look at Thompson! Haven't got it!
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start trouble. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry!
Good evening and welcome to Evolution Sim Racing. We are in Season 2 and we are getting ready for a barnstorming Bavarian blowout here in Rhineland, Germany. This track, originally called the Dreieckskurs, or the Triangle Course, was originally built back in 1932. This current layout's been with us since 2002 and it was designed by none other than Herman Tilke. Love him or hate him, he's designed lots of tracks. Nürburgring, Barcelona, Fuji, Bahrain, Shanghai, Istanbul, Valencia, Marina Bay, Yas Marina. The list goes on and on. We've got 17 corners for you tonight, following over 4.574 kilometers, 2.842 miles. It's 10 corners to the right, 7 to the left. And this track last hosted F1 back in 2019. Fastest ever lap was recorded in 2018 by none other than the German man himself, Vettel, with a 111.212. Fastest GT record around here, though, was by Tom Onslow Cole back in 2019. That was a 138 flat, which is more the time frame that we're probably going to be seeing from the drivers tonight, all being in GT3 cars. It's a very flat track, this, not much elevation. Lots of overtaking opportunities as well. Into the hairpin and into Einfahrt Parabolica, and you can go side by side pretty much through the entire last sector. But it is hard. But overtakes definitely possible. Also Mercedes corner, very good place to overtake if you can get the jump on the inside there. But turn 1 and Mobile 1 curve are very dangerous here. Very difficult to go side by side through those ones. It's going to be a tricky one. Of course, it is your main man, Stephen Karabelas, on the mic this evening. I've got Dean Biggles here, and we'll finally let him get a word in edgeways. Thank you for broadcasting, Biggles, and welcome to the stream.
Welcome, everybody, and you have to all aware the VCO Scammy Awards has all been done and dusted, so I'm sure that's a topic of conversation for another day, and I just boost my level of the audio at the moment, so it's a bit better, too, on top of it. Well, guess what? We do have Rhys Saunders back in this one, but we do have the domination of, as you know, the South African driver. And here are your standings currently at the moment for the Pro.
Yeah, let's go through those quickly. Aaron Kirby takes the lead in the Pro Championship. His consistency is proving very handy in his point of view. But of course, Rhys Saunders drops down to P4 after he wasn't here last week for the 1 hour Le Mans race. Ewan Stitchbury ends up in P2 and Tristan Lebrega jumps up to P3. He's been making big gains since he appeared in the second round. Paul Cowlishaw drops a number of positions as well. Auramas with a P3 in Le Mans and a P3 in the race previous to that as well. Gets himself up into P5. So big changes going on here. Of course, we've got Jeremy Ulemans as well. Gets a P2 in Le Mans and jumps up massively as well. Maybe hopefully he can kickstart his season, get some good results before the end. But we'll move on and have a look at the Pro-Am standings next, because there's been some changes here as well. Matt Barnett leads the way at the moment. Mr. Consistency, so many podiums to his name. Mark Robinson sorry, this is the AM standings, I apologise. It's Matt Barnett still leading. He won last time out in Le Mans as well with a terrific drive. Mark Robinson ended up in P2 after winning a race the previous week. We've got John Lugbert and Richard Knight as well, doing quite well in their respective points hauls and still leading the team championship, I believe, as well. And hopefully we'll have Chris H. Keenan of old back after he won a double in the first round. He didn't appear in the second round and he's only come P5 in Le Mans. So maybe that's just not a track for him. Hopefully we can see him do a bit better for the remainder of the season. On to the Pro-Am category then, if that's going to get next. We've got Matt Hyland, who won last time out. He actually did a fantastic job, finishing P2 overall, I believe, or P3 or P4, I'm not sure. Overall in the pro standings, as well as winning his category. We've got Matthew Jones still hanging on to P2 at the moment. And Daniel Nans actually dropped several positions after last week. After an unsafe rejoin means that he dropped 4 positions and lost 2 championship points as well. Meaning then he finishes P10 overall in Le Mans. And Nicholas Newton seems to have found some form, but he needs to work on that consistency and get some more podiums under his belt if he wants to climb up the order a little bit more. Scott A. Kostrich as well seems to be chugging in those results, but the boss man, James B. Bostock, has not really returned to the form of week 1 as it stands. A couple of poor finishes in Spa and a poor finish in Le Mans means he's got work to do to rediscover that round 1 form. It's going to be interesting, these championships. It's all tight. We've got the team championships here for you as well. It is still Ludbrook Racing, I should say, of Ludbrook and Nathan Crook fame, who are leading the way. But there are people who are capable of catching Aaron Kirby and Richard Knight hot on their heels, and Jerry Ulemans and Matt Barnett after their fantastic run out in Le Mans. Are going to be looking hot on the heels of those top 2 as well. Matt Hyland and Rob Mackay as well for DXT Motorsports, who again have got fans in the chat saying, let's go racing. Looking forward to the race already. Those 2 could be dark horses and maybe shoot up the order in the remaining rounds. But Matt Hyland having a terrific start to his Evolution Sim Racing career so far. We're deep into qualifying already, and times are being punted in left and right. It'll be interesting to see who's going to get that top spot. Is Rhys Saunders going to get it again, do you think, Biggles? And is he going to mess up the start again?
Yeah, he's not, and Mr. not so great in his race starts, but we shall see, because once again he's back after a week off the racing here. For the Evolution Sim Round 4, we are currently in the Evolution Sim Racing Series. We shall see. I mean, obviously at the moment you do see the 2 of the South African duos up top dominating the times currently at the moment in qualifying, and that's going to throw off Rhys Saunders, as you can see, a car spinning out of the corner currently at the moment. Why are the times not showing up? Because I'm just making sure you're all checking out there at the moment. You can see it's half a second down almost on this track, so that's going to be very, very interesting. Scotty looking strong for the Pro AMs to qualify ahead of Matthew Hoyland, and then Nathan Crook there, Matt Barnett looking to be the first 2 for your AM category. Of course, DXT Live out there, let's go racing, and we love everybody else that's supporting your teams and drivers as we get ready to race after our event. Interesting race that we had last week, wasn't it? And I mean, the double points as well.
Yeah, some big events as well. Obviously, we've got that rejoin from Dan Nans, who it cost him quite a number of positions, and we also had a big incident in turn in Eau Rouge between Ewan Stitchbury and Luke Lucchese, which ended up being a racing incident. We saw that on the replays last week, and we judged it to be a racing incident ourselves as well. It was a tough one, though. It looked as though it split the stewards. But we'll just reiterate the rules a little bit here. We've got damage on this season after a no damage season 1, and it's going to be 17 X for off tracks, or you get 4 for a car contact, of course, for a drive-through, 20x for a disqualification. You get 2 fast repairs as well, and obviously you've got the choice of so many GT3 cars here as well. There's going to be a drop round at the end of the season as well, so some people who have missed a race will benefit from that hugely this season, and we'll get a reverse grid in the second heat. For this one, though, we're going to have 2 heats, one 20-minute race and then one 30-minute race, and it's going to be interesting to see. That reverse grid always throws up some major drama. It's going to be a reverse 20, given how many drivers we've got turning up these days. And it's Tristan Abrega who's going to get the grid off to the start. Luke Lucchese, his teammate and countrymate as well, is going to be there defending him, hopefully, from Rhys Saunders and Ewan Stitchbury. Ewan Saunders needs to hopefully get his start in order. Scott Kostrich behind them, doing very well in the Pro-Am class there, getting himself on P5 overall, with Peter Cox in P6, Paul Cowlishaw in P7, and Brian Damwee, who had his best finish last time out in Le Mans, in P8. Matthew Hoyland in P9, a couple of cars between him and his main rival, and Paul Robson in P13, Jamal Gandua in P14, Jeremy Ulemans in P15. He's got some work to do to get a good result, but he said last week in his interview, not really expecting to be up there. But we've got Steve Cakebread in P16, Gary Mitchell in P17, Graham Matthew in P18, and it's Matt Barnett leading the way by some distance for the AM categories there. Mark Robinson, his closest rival, down in P28, and Richard Knight and John Lugbrook behind them, with plenty of Pro-Am drivers in the mix between them. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of start these two South African boys can get if they both get off the line nice and cleanly. I can't see Tristan really mucking this up, but Rhys Saunders, we know, has got unbelievable pace, even if his race starts are a little bit lacking over the last season and the beginning of this one. We've also got Ewan Stitch there in the mix, and maybe we're going to see some afters here between Luke Lucchese and Ewan. Ewan already flashing his lights as we set the lights off to go for the race start. And it looks like everybody is on the edge of their seats, and it's away we go. It looks like a very good start there from P2 for Luke, and we'll see if he gets alongside his teammate. It doesn't look as though he's going to go for the move just net into turn 1. Very difficult to get any kind of move done, but it looks like nice and clean for the most part for the start. And it looks like Ewan Stitchbury has gone around, and there's a big crash there in turn 1. It's going to collect a number of drivers there in the background on your screens. You can see the red BMW stock pointing the wrong way. That's not the way you want to be facing at all, but it is job done for Rhys Saunders. Maybe he's been involved, and he's already going to go for a move here, and it's on Luke Lucchese into the hairpin, down into parabolic. He's got the inside line, and Luke Lucchese isn't he's going to try and defend this as hard as he can. Gets a bit squeezed by Rhys Saunders there into the inside, but Rhys Saunders eventually gives him the space, and now they're going to go through the hairpin. Who's going to get the better exit there? Looks like the man on the inside gets the move done, but a little bit of a squiggle there on the exit, and Rhys Saunders has got another bite at the cherry. This is epic racing from these two boys. Going to go down into Mercedes, and Rhys Saunders is going to have the inside, but he can't hang it around before they get there, and has to give it up. But great battling between these two already. Ewan Stitchbury has come off very badly there, down 27 positions and down to P31 overall in the race standings. Is what a start that was from Rhys Saunders, though. He actually seems to have got it right this time.
Yeah, he did, and he's going to need to bring it because he can't afford to let the South African duo get up the road too much, as we're on our first race heat, and it's certainly all boiled up here in Hockenheim, and I'm looking forward to more of this racing. You can see a little bit further back to some switcheroos. There's your gainers and losers currently at the moment on your screen. We will show you the overall tower because it's going to include both of those drivers. Here's Paul Robertson looking to make a move up there on Zelinkas, of course the man that won this championship last season, but Mr. Zelinkas has covered that one off quite nicely. Further back, Matthew Hoyland here. Look at this. He's looking to make his way up through the field. Where is he currently at the moment? Down P12. Nathan Crook is doing a good job there for the AM class. All the way up at P9.
Yeah, that's an absolute fantastic position for him to be in. And Scott Kostrich up in P5 for the Pro-Am category as well. He's had a fantastic start. A few people getting problems. Brian Demuy is down 18 positions. Nicholas Newton is down 12. They must have been caught up in the lap 1 shenanigans. That was where we saw the BMW pointing the wrong way. We've got Ewan Stitchby already in the pit lane, Gareth Newton in the pit lane, Gary Mitchell in the pit lane, Richard Knight in the pit lane, Jamal Gandua, Jeremy Ulemans and Richard Gregory also in the pit lane. Number of people picking up damage here on the first lap. I imagine the stewards are going to be busy with a few incidents here. But let's have a look at a replay at that start. Look, this is such a good start here from Luke Lucchese as well. And we'll see here, that's what happened to Ewan Stitchbury. Looks like a racing incident to me. Plenty of space left by both drivers and just a bit of unfortunate contact. There was another incident behind that, totally separate to it. But obviously none of those drivers could get going. That is the danger of turn 1. It's a one wide corner. And look at that, just one punt on that curb. And it's causing absolute carnage. Look at it, so many drivers caught up and trying to avoid it. And in avoiding it, they get caught up in more shenanigans. Absolute scenes here in Germany. But look at this, Tristan Nebrega has already made a breakaway. He's got his teammate behind him there to cover Rhys Saunders off as well. Is Rhys Saunders going to be able to mount an attack here on the South African? It looks as though they're just kind of settling into a little bit of a rhythm here, but we've got a big battle here between Paul Cowlishaw and Scott Kostridge here in the purple, well, multicoloured Porsche, I should say. He's going to go for the move, he's got the inside line, and he's going to try and outbrake his man. This is into Parabolica. And not really a very good overtaking spot because you've got the left-hander just after it. That means you're going to not get the inside line, but he gets a good run now. This is the best overtaking place on the circuit, down into the hairpin, and he's following it very closely. He's going to get the inside as well. No defence there from Scott. He's understanding, I think, that this is not his fight. He doesn't want to lose too much time battling out with the DeWalt driver. Well, he is still in it, though, and he's collected him. Oh, he's saved it just about, and the Porsche carries on going. Absolute elbows out racing there from Scott Kostridge. No room given, and Paul Cowlishaw does very well to save that there. We're going to have a three-way battle now into the hairpin. This is between Marcus Richardson.
It's going to go up the inside. Last of the late breakers. I don't think you're going to make it stop in time there, Bob the Builder there, Marcus. And that's a compromise going into the hairpin here. Yeah, it's a great way. I knew that was a day late, $1 short on that one, mate. But, you know, it's well worth a risk. And on top of it, he didn't manage to have a collision with anybody, which is always a positive day to start your first race here this evening. Definitely
a move worth going for into that hairpin. If you can get it stopped, that is. He definitely couldn't. He definitely overshot it went very deep. But if you can get it stopped and park it on the apex there, the guys on the outside have got nowhere to go, and they're more likely to get an incident than you are on the inside. It's always the nicest place to be in a 3 wide, is on the inside. You've got control of the corner, but Matthew getting the pass done there, that'll keep Mr. DXT out there happy, because there's Matthew making his way currently up at the moment into P12, but he did have a bit of a poor start, because Matthew did drop a couple of places trying to make it back now in our 20-minute first heat race, and that's the way to get it done. You can see he's clearly got the overtake done and getting moving on with the power that he has, getting up to those positions where he currently qualified before. Scotty and Paul are still at it, but Paul did get past Scotty in the end. So, and, well, Scotty wants it back, as you can see currently at the moment, because he has, remember, our last season championship driver just behind him. And you have to say, with Mr. Zelinkas, is that his form of this year hasn't been the strong, dominating form that he had last season, but still, he's got a little bit of time left. Not a lot, as we're approaching halfway through the season. And there's the move. And just talking about the man himself, I think he's basically saying, well, Biggles, mate, did you just forget about that fantastic overtake I did? Because it was amazing. P6 now. It certainly was. And yes, folks, so far a P5, a P3 in Spa, and then a P3 in Le Mans. He missed the first round, which is obviously going to cost him a little bit. But Scott's doing the right thing here in this situation, I think. He needs to race these guys. He can't just let them all through and hope that he doesn't get collected. He's got to race these guys and defend his position, because otherwise Matt Hoyland is not too far behind. There's been an incident here with Richard Knight. Looks like he's all on his own, and yeah, just carried a bit too much speed into turn 1, I think. Is that? Yeah, no, that's the final corner. I apologise.
Oh, yeah, and hopefully. There's your race leader coming around the corner as well, too. So, as you can see, bang. That's, you'd have to say, that's not too bad, because Trishan does not want to be seeing that car spinning just in front of him while he has a little bit of a comfortable lead at the moment, almost a second over Luca.
Yeah, We've seen that before as well, haven't we? Lap drivers taking out leaders. It happened in, I believe it was Brands Hatch last season. Reece Saunders taken out by a lap driver who was trying to get out of the way, fair play to him, but did it in an unpredictable manner, which is...
Never seen that before, did you? Just pulls off to the side there and just hits the grass. As he slows down, hits that loud pedal, the rear just slips out. It goes straight into, obviously, Reece Saunders. And you know, a driver like that obviously feels absolutely gutted because you don't want to be intentionally trying to take out anybody, especially leading the race. But once again, Joe Glass and Mark Robertson getting into it. Joe Glass getting the overtake done for the Glass Tech Racing. Joe, and then makes a little bit of a mistake on the exit of the corner. Now, we know that's another thing of Joe, isn't it? He's got the pace. He's a great racer. He's always generally got the camera pointed on him during these racing, isn't it? But at some points, once he gets these fantastic moves done, he just makes a little bit of an error and then has to do it all over again.
Certainly does. I'm wondering if there may be a little bit of damage to his car as well. I mean, a few drivers may have decided after that first lap incident, if they're just carrying a tiny bit of damage, maybe a little bit of bent aeros here or there, no steering damage, they might carry on. We did hear from one of the drivers last week that he pretty much did the 40 minutes of Le Mans with a bent steering wheel, which is an odd one to do with
a race winner.
Yeah, that was Tristan, our race winner. It was a bit of an odd one to do, but I mean, it worked out for him. He won the race, so definitely worthwhile from his point of view. But 2 fast repairs available to the drivers. You would expect them to come in, but you do lose a lot of time. I mean, look at you where Ewan Stitchbury is at the moment. He started in P3 and he's now down in P28 at the moment because he had to pit to repair some damage after getting spun around on lap 1 here. It is Scott Koshich there. Stephen Capreg's gone off the track. He's mowing grass at the moment, and I'm sorry, mate, but the Hockenheim organisers have got people for that. You don't need to do that.
And not an expensive couple $100,000 sports car. Bang, here it is. It just snaps the grass, doesn't it? And I'd have to say, very kind tap to the fence. Not bad. Still pointing in the right direction. We'll drop a couple of places, but it could be worse, mate. You don't want to be facing in the wrong direction and have to wait for all that traffic to come around. So, live to see another day there, Mr. Stephen.
Looks like he's got away with one there, yeah, but hitting that curb on the exit there to turns 2 and 3 can definitely unsettle the car a little bit, but I think, like you say, he's got on the grass. But yeah, that was tight as well. He's starting to get swamped a little bit by some slower drivers, and his tyres will be a little bit poor in performance at the moment. Going over the grass, the next couple of corners, you've got to be definitely careful. It's the same in iRacing. If you get a little bit of a snap of oversteer or something like that, it definitely overheats the surface of the tyres, and you've got to be a little bit more cautious for the next couple of corners, because once you've lost it once, it's much easier to lose it again. But now he's got some defending to do. He's got to get the elbows out. Doesn't want to lose more positions because he's just going to have to overtake them again. And that makes his job a little bit harder. 10 minutes down, halfway through this first heat race.
Look at this.
And it looks like Reece Saunders is trying to mount an attack here on Luke Lucchese, the lucky cheese man. He's going to have some defending to do, and he's flashing at him. He wants this position. He's going to maybe... We've seen this before from Reece as well. He doesn't take prisoners when he goes to the overtake. He's definitely very determined when he takes these overtakes. It doesn't look like he's got a good enough run here into the hairpin, though. He's going to look for it, but slots it back in behind as well.
Full steering lock as well, too, into the hairpin. And gets on the power. You can see it upshifting second gear right now. Third gear, you can see his fingers clicking the sequential gear shift, and he's on the edge here at this point, isn't it? You're following the dirty air of Luca's car. He needs to make sure that he's going to follow his own racing line and not Luca's, because Luca makes a mistake as well too. You're probably going to be chasing. And then where do you think, Stevie, that he's going to get this overtaking opportunity?
I think the pace here from Lucchese is going to be a major factor in where he's going to be able to make the move in. The best opportunity is always going to be down into the hairpin, but I don't think Lucchese is going to give him the inside line ever. If he ever gets to run, he's going to take that inside line. It's going to make it very difficult to go around the outside. He's going to have to maybe get a bit creative and try something down the inside of Mercedes. Definitely a place he can get a move done. And the next corner after Mercedes, turn 10, I think it is, the right-hander, is very, very difficult to go side by side through there. It's a difficult corner on its own right, off camber. A little bit of a curve there on the inside, unsettle the car. Even the GT3 cars get a bit settled by that one. Definitely get unsettled by any sausage curve around here as well. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for Reece Saunders. Lucchese is a different ball game to the other drivers that he's overtaken. That we've seen him overtake in the past. Lucchese and Tristan Nobrega are on his level, I believe, in pace, which makes that overtake just that little bit more difficult. Another run down now into through Parabolica and into the hairpin, turn 6, and he's still not close enough. So I don't think he's going to be able to get this move done in the next few laps. He's going to have to kind of wind this one up a bit. Going to move here then from Harry Hartley-Price, a newcomer to the league, getting an overtake here done on Graham Matthew. Graham Matthew trying to keep his nose up the inside and maybe fight this one back down now into the hairpin. But Harry is defending the inside. He's defending it hard, and it doesn't look as though it's going to be an opportunity here for him to make the move. But he's still there. He's still looking left and right. He's going to go with the outside as we follow on board now with Daniel Naz and James Bostock, who are having a bit of a ding-dong battle through the hairpin. But James Bostock holds onto it for now. Sorry, that's Rob Mackay, behind James Bostock. This is Stan Nans that we're on board with. Apologies, getting a bit mixed up there. We've got another driver behind them as well. That's Stefan Bauer, I should say. And these guys are very, very close together. There's going to be either an overtake or an incident or something happening between those three, but this is what we tend to find so far this season, is we get these groups of drivers where there's somebody in there who's quicker, but they can't get through because the toe is so strong.
It is absolutely correct. The toe's so strong. It's good to see the boss man up 12 positions. We know that he hasn't been having the best of seasons, but a bit of shout out there, of course, to the 166 machine, because he currently is 12 places up, my friend, as you can see in the Pro AM class, currently running in P3. The other two up the road, of course, Matthew here is in the gaggle of those cars. Somebody's pulled off just to the side there, got completely out of the way. Probably a breakdown or a technical issue at the moment. So this is Matthew there. You got Nathan and a few of the other gagglers up there. It doesn't look like at the moment. Reese is actually just still holding in there a little bit. That is the current situation with those drivers, as we have a couple of little incidents as well. Getting down to the business end here of our first race.
6 minutes to go, yeah. And Scott Kosh is going to say, I think this could be his first win that we've seen since we've been commentating on this series, and that would be fantastic news for him. It seems like Hockenheim or Germany agrees with him. Must be something in the sausage, the bratwurst, as it may.
The bratties, yeah, mate. Oktoberfest, isn't it, coming up as well too? I've been there and München and Munich a few times, a little bit further away from Hockenheim, but there it is. Reese Saunders has got the charge up. He's got the call up there for the Team U1. He's going, all right, let's go. Let's bring it. Here he is. He's trying his absolute best here. And Luke is going to do his absolute best to defend and make it a 1-2 there for the South Africans. But, of course, Reese is back fresh after his week break, and he's on fire.
Yeah, and he can't do anything. He had to give up that one. Didn't have the inside line there in the last final two corners, but he's starting to push Luke off his line, and that is what you need to do to slow the man down. He's going to now have to think more about defending, and at some point, I think the dam's got to give. I think Reese Saunders is quicker here. He seems to be wanting to get this done, but the fact that he hasn't got it done yet, there's only 5 minutes remaining, means that Tristan de Brega has a big thank you, a bottle of beer or a case, as the case may be, is probably heading Luke's way, because the defence is vital to that race win for Tristan. And the fact that he's been there holding him up all this time will mean that he's likely to get that win, Tristan. And that's a spin there in the final corner there for Matt Barnett. And what a dodge there from the Porsche coming up, and he's stuck now. He can't get the car turned around in a safe manner. And he was doing well there as well, Matt Barnett. He was doing a fantastic, stellar job there in the arm category. That's going to cost him a few positions. Leading the championship, of course, he's going to lose some positions here to Nathan Crook, who's P4 in the championship, doing very well here. He's had some good results already. A win in Spa, a podium in the first race of the season. I'm trying to remember what that was. That was, of course, Brands Hatch. Of course it was. And he's going to get another one under his belt here as well. Nobody even close to him in the AMP category. P9 for Nathan Crook, for the AMP driver. Isn't it? It's an absolute beautiful performance from him. And on for driver of this heat race, of course. We've obviously got another one. It comes to be a reverse 20 grid for that.
Sorry, Matthew there at the moment for the DXT, of course, motorsports team. But that's a different category at the moment. Oh, and there's a little bit of lock-up up the road there. I don't know, it'll be affecting, but yeah, at the moment, if you are thinking about Nathan, you'd probably at this point let him through if you want. You don't want to get a tangle knowing you've got such a domination over the rest of the drivers in your class. And here it is on the exit. Oh, that's how you're going to know. You're a little. I'm just a little concerned at the moment because Matthew wants to get past, because Matthew wants to, get up the road there and catch Scotty. And that's the difference with a handful of time left to do it.
Oh,
and that's Matthew going way off.
Big mistake there from Matthew. He's waxed the sausage curve on the inside and it really unsettles the car. He is so lucky That didn't send him spearing into a barrier there. That was a big mistake. Lockups there from the Audi that we're seeing as well, and that's going to get out of the way a little bit. He's having problems here, Hartley Price. Looks like he's got damage maybe. He's crabbing a little bit, causing issues. He's going to try and pull over to the side here and tow it. Looks like maybe his race is done. That's bad news for him. He was involved in big races there. I imagine there's going to be some contact at some stage that we've missed. But Rhys Saunders still unable to make this move on Luke Lucchese. He's defending like a lion, as Alonso would say. And
good job.
Old Fernando, he's challenging us into Fernando here, isn't he? He's doing a fantastic job here, Lucchese. He's definitely got the cheese lock on his side this evening. But Rhys Saunders, I don't think he's going to give this up until the very end. He's going to be on the limit. We know what Rhys Saunders is like. We know he can pull out those unexpected overtakes at times as well. But it looks as though Lucchese has his number at the moment.
It's absolutely fantastic this season, having the new drivers in this fantastic league, of course. And we have so many of those drivers. And it's good to see new challenges in town. Of course, Rhys is sitting there at the moment at the back there of the RDSA Pantera Racing Esports team going, well, hang on. This time last season, he was battling it out with this man, wasn't he? Constantly, 1 and 2 generally. And look at the moment how much of a season has changed now, because Paul is now holding off last season's champion winner. Paul, I have to say, Paul Colasor has really, really improved. You see him step up in his game now. He's really battling it out with the top guns up the top of the timesheets consistently. And once again, going back at Rhys Saunders, this is unfamiliar territory this season, of course, is that he's not used to be the man that's rolling back in P3, isn't he? He's usually the man that slices his way through the field after those poor racing starts. No pun intended, Rhys, but we all know that's happened for you in the past. But you got a good race start this time. And the top three are in those same 3 positions that they started in. And now, I don't know if he's got a chance to do anything here. We know Rhys Saunders is a Max Verstappen per se in that car, isn't he? If gap car, he will go for it. He doesn't sit around and hang around and wait for like something to open up, present itself. He's going to stick the nose up on the inside, and perhaps it gets chopped off every once in a while, but perhaps it also works.
Yeah, I think at the moment though, he's not really getting enough of an overlap on Luke, and Luke seems to be defending this one with style, and Scott Kostrich is now on the back of Paul Robson, so he's looking to get another position after Aaron Kirby overtakes Matthew Hoyland, putting another car between Scott and Matthew Hoyland. They're going to be
went off
battling
track,
out.
unfortunately. I think this is the reason why that happened.
He's just gone deep into the hairpin there, very, very wide, and some might say that's an unsafe rejoin, but he does rejoin and nobody crashed, so he did rejoin onto the racing line though. But I think we're going to have the white flag. Is going to be maybe the checkered flag the next time round, as we follow on board with Tristan here. It is going to be another lap here of Hockenheim.
Yeah, I'd have to tell you, Stevie, considering that the sheer dominations is one of the other drivers there is probably either, definitely got some serious damage on that car. They're just getting off the racing line. Tristan's been such a powerhouse, hasn't he? He's just come to form of massively. But you have to say, a 1.6 second gap is... They've been keeping up with him here, the other drivers this evening. So, not the usual absolute... Well, again, we had an hour race, didn't we, last time? The domination that he has. But it doesn't really matter how far you win by, isn't it? The margin that you win by, it's the fact that you win. And that's all that matters at the end of the day.
Certainly does. Nobody cares how you did it either. Just ask George in the F1 where he got his first podium from and how. It's nobody matters. Oh, there's been a crash behind.
Yeah, Luca.
Oh, it's Luke Lucchese getting spattered out by Rhys Saunders. They've come together, and then Luke Lucchese comes back on the track. Was that more contact there, as well as he's trying to rejoin, but his tyres are all over the shop. What's happened? Yeah, he goes defensive. No, he doesn't. This is in the Mercedes.
Contact. Boom.
And it's just a punt from behind. It's on Rhys Saunders. It's all him. And let's have a look at the rejoin now, though. Is this going to be a bad rejoin? It is. There's a Mercedes getting off the track, trying to get out of the way of them, and he rejoins right in front of it. And then Porsche behind, that's probably not too bad, but it was a bad rejoin there from Luke Lucchese. And he's not happy about this. He's been punted, and he's lost the position. It looks like Rhys Saunders gave it back.
He has given it back, actually, because there's Luca, and look at that. Rhys Saunders has slowed down. It's actually bring Peter Cox into play. Now, Peter Cox can absolutely go for it and say, you two, you know, you can have it, but there it is. So I have to say that's obviously great. That's very great race, gentleman racing, isn't it? There, that Rhys probably said my bad, gave him a tap, and then gave the position back. We love to see that. That takes a lot from a driver to give those positions up. You wouldn't see that in Formula One. No driver would ever do that. But then again, they're getting paid millions of dollars for a contract. But then again, look at Tristan.
We never used to see it. We never used to see it until they changed the rules, and now they've got the choice to give it up off their own back or get a 5-second penalty. So a lot of the teams now do decide to give that up. But great sportsmanship on display there from Rhys Saunders. But did he really have much of a choice? He's probably still going to get a penalty, but less of a penalty, given the stewards will take that into account, the fact that he gave the position back. Maybe it's going to give him no penalty at all. Scott Kostrich, though, wins in the Pro-Am category, and Nathan Crook, what a fantastic drive from him, beats out a fair few pro drivers here this evening in this heat race. We've got another 30-minute race coming up for your viewing pleasure. As DXC Live is sitting in chat, the BMWs are so hard to catch on the straights. They definitely got some straight line speed, but one car to definitely watch out for at this track is going to be the Mercedes. So many slow speed corners here. The Mercedes acceleration is something to behold as well. So I imagine that car is pretty strong here as well.
Yeah, you are 100% right. We'll go over those results right now for everybody just to double check on how that situation panned out. Always drama at the very end. You love it. Yeah, absolutely. We all love a bit of drama towards the end, but overall, let's go out and go over those results. And don't forget, of course, about all those other drivers that put those fantastic efforts in, which we'll display right now and talk about.
Yeah. So Tristan de Dumbrega again wins another race. That's 3, I believe it is, under his belt. I'll double check that. But yeah, that's his 3rd win in 4 races. We've got 5th race coming up now. Luke Lucchese gets a nice P2 thanks to Rhys Saunders and his sportsmanlike behaviour, giving the position back after punting him on the final lap. Peter Cox with another fantastic finish here. He's done it rather well. And we'd expect to see him there or thereabouts in future races. Paul Cowlishaw gets P5. Aura Masalinskas, last year's season winner in the Mercedes in P6. Having a tougher time of it this season for sure. And Scott Kostrich there, of course, P8 wins the Pro-Am category. We've mentioned him already. Nathan Crook wins the Am category as well. Fantastic drive from him. Matthew Hyland, a couple of mistakes. Maybe he could have challenged Scott Kostrich for that win there if he hadn't made those mistakes. Getting on the curb, getting a bit out of shape, and going deep into the hairpin. And James Bostock, you've got to say, he started quite low down on this grid here. He's made up a ton of positions and got himself a podium. And it's a return to form from him after a couple of bad weeks at Spa and Le Mans. So many drivers in this league, though. You've got to say, first of all, kudos to the race organisers for making this such a large and competitive grid. And secondly, apologies to all those drivers that we don't generally tend to mention very often. It's unfortunate, but we just can't get through everybody in these 20-minute races. So much action going on. We've got to focus on the racing. So, short apologies there. Mm-hmm. Brian Tamuy is going to be absolutely disappointed with this one here as well. He's finished a minute behind everybody else. He had such a good week last time out as well at Le Mans. Matt Barnett there as well. Big mistake from him, getting spun around and costing him a lot of points on his championship charge. He was leading the championship before today, and it's a possibility that he could maybe get knocked off the top spot before the end of the day. There is the rest of your results. Drivers will be warming up now, if not just going to the toilet and having a cup of tea, taking a little a
cup of tea. Yeah, exactly.
A cup of tea, getting a bit of the steam out of their ears after some of the shenanigans going on early on in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't had a crumpet in a long time, I have to say.
Oh, don't tease me. I can't get one of those in the Americas, my friend. But yeah, exactly. There are your results there for our first heat race, which, well, as you know, as we did mention before, we'll go over to the league details once again and get an idea of the schedule that's been going on, of course, because we've done our Le Mans 1 hour night race, which thankfully was just a dusk race more than anything, so we can see those liveries. Hockenheim right now, and then we go to Daytona for a 1 hour sunset race. Double points, I believe, as well, too. Mr. Stephen, on those events?
50 points for a win in these normal 20-minute and 30-minute races. For those 1 hour ones, that will double to 100 points for the winner. And the rest of the grid follows that. It says reverse 15 there in the top left as well. However, because we've got such a large grid for these races, we have a reverse 20 this time. So we'll be coming to you shortly with the grid as it's going to be for the start of this 30-minute race. But it always throws up some spanners into the works, doesn't it, Biggles? These reverse grids. I absolutely adore them. They make for some very interesting racing, and we've seen it already this season as well. Some of these drivers just try and get out of the way. They don't want to be involved. Some of these drivers end up getting some of the best results of their season because they get that reverse grid and start higher than they normally do, and because of the drama and incidents behind them, they end up holding on to those. And it's worth mentioning, as always, that the top 5 drivers in each class get a trophy for these
Isn't that
for this
nice?
championship, which is
Pre-personalised
brilliant to
trophy.
see.
Yeah, if they attend, of course, 7 of 8 of the rounds, because it would be unfair if they just come in for a little bit. They obviously this season, of course, you have the choice of those cars, and just mention out there the BMWs are hard. So what we will see about the performance, obviously the Ferraris have been doing pretty good there because they got P1 and P2 in the first race, heat race. Of course, the race 2 coming up 30 minutes, reverse 15, and a pit stop. And that's another thing, Stephen, and as you said, it's a great opportunity for some of these drivers that, you know, when they are flipped over, so the driver in the reverse 20, let's say, we've seen them, haven't they? They've been holding off and holding the pace of some of the quicker drivers for some time, and only towards the very end, generally you see, of the 30-minute main feature race, that they start to just slowly get pulled in and overtaken by the pro category drivers and stuff like that. But they hold their own for a very long time, and it's got to feel good, isn't it? It doesn't matter. It always feels good when you're leading a race. You're leading this race and you know, hey, I'm in front of everybody else. And you seem to get, I don't know what it is, but you always seem to mentally get a little bit more speed, don't you, when you're leading a race that you shouldn't, you know, generally on pace to lead, let's say.
Yeah, it's the old chess saying, isn't it? You only get smarter by playing a smarter opponent, and in racing, the same is true. You only get faster by driving with faster drivers. But here we have your grid for the Heat 2 race here at Hockenheim. It's Mark Robinson who's going to be starting here on pole, the AM driver. Didn't have the best showing, but he did come P2 in his class, so he's getting an opportunity now to win his class. So many drivers between him and Nathan Crook as we get ready to go again here for race 2. It's Rob Mackay on the first row of the grid alongside him, with Wesley Van Rens in the start of the second row. Joe Glass, mentioned earlier for Glass Tech Racing, in P4 on the second row of the grid as well. Graham Matthews and Stephen Bauer will be hoping to gain some great positions here. We've got the lights, we're getting ready to go. How's Mark Robinson going to do on the start? And we're away, and it's a bit of wheel spin there, so that's not what you want. It looks like an advanced start from a couple of people in the second and third rows there, and that's caused absolute mayhem behind. People not expecting a slow car as they dodge out of the way very late, and that's caused major problems. Big jumps all the way through the grid as people are struggling to get going, but that's allowed a few people to get straight through. Pro driver Auramas Zelinskas is up to P5 already, 10 positions gained for him, and that could mean that he's in with a very good chance now of winning the second heat. A number of drivers struggling to get away. There's another accident there in Parabolica. It looks like Rob Mackay there in the Porsche dropping orders there as he gets shoved off by the looks of things. I didn't quite catch it in full, but it looks as though it was contact with the blue and white Porsche there of 101, but I could be wrong on that as well, so please do not quote me. We've got big damage here on a Ferrari there as well as going at the hairpin, as we're looking at Tristan trying to navigate his way through the traffic. He looks like he's got past somebody there, James Bostock, and he's looking to recreate what Reece Storners does. We've got Stephen Caperet there missing an entire front bumper. He's been in the wars a little bit there as well. The South African here not had the best week here in Hockenheim. Had a spin in Heat 1 and is now missing his front bumper in Heat 2. Danny Switzer in P10 gains 14 positions here for the Pro-Am driver in his BMW, and he's now got Tristan for company. Tristan,
you got to let him through, partner. He does cleverly. He knows there's no point in racing Tristan. Tristan's pretty much been the fastest man in the last couple of races. But overall, you can see that absolute carnage, and there it is. There's the last year's man champion and taking full advantage of this one. 12 positions gained. Make that 13, I'd imagine. We'll see how much of a fight Mark's going to put up there. Of course, you got totally different classes. Mark just set the fastest lap, but at this point, Zelinskas is going to be zooming on by. Mark's is going to be happy at the moment to say, hey, Richard is all the way down to P13. I'm in P3. Of course, he did start when you remember the reverse grid, but clever for Mark to just continue with this one. Only dropping a couple places from pole. But Stephen, of course, Stefan's gone in pit road. Early pit stop, I guess. And he's leading the race too, so he's not like he had traffic.
Yeah, I was wondering why I couldn't see him in front of Auramas there.
Damage.
So, it looks like he's got damage, yeah.
Where did he get that from? He was leading the race, but anyway.
I'm guessing he must have had an accident on his own and hit a barrier at some stage. But this is what you get with these reverse grid races. There's Reece Saunders going down 3 wide into the hairpin there and gets a bit of a snap there. Loses out to them both in the end. Just not enough room on the track there to get the power down. And Rhys Saunders there in P9. Still a couple of three drivers between him. But look at this. Look at the different braking zones. And the way you've got to deal with that, you've got to brake early and get the better exit. That's your only option. You cannot afford to get back onto the brakes once you've already done your braking. It's just not the way to race. But it's causing this reverse grid, as we mentioned before the race started. It causes some drama. It causes problems, and Rhys Saunders here is going to go for the dive here into, I believe, that's turn 11 and 12. He's going to get it done as well. An unorthodox place to make the overtake, but definitely a place you can make an overtake. That's down into turn 12, Sachs, and he gets that done, and makes short work of that one. And that's Tristan Abrega behind him as well. He's got to get through this traffic just as quickly as Rhys Saunders. You can't allow Rhys Saunders to get through the traffic and disappear. As looks like these guys are going to be battling until the end of the season. As there we have Rhys Saunders. That's Tristan right behind him as well, with Daniel Nans behind that as well. I think timing board is having a bit of a moment, because Sim Bao is definitely not leading at the moment. He's pitted. Zaura Masalinskas in the lead, 14 positions gained. Mark Robinson just behind him. Aaron Kirby with a fantastic chance to gain some big points. He's leading the championship in the pro standings at the moment, but it certainly looks as though he's not got the pace to really punch with the big boys of Tristan, Rhys, and now Aramas as well is certainly looking very pacey since he's returned to the fold after missing the first round in Brands Hatch. It's
look at this contact!
Big contact!
I got a feeling it was going to happen. I was going to say, there's no way these cars are going to be able to get into that corner at that angle of the three. They're going to go 3 into 1. We all know that. I'm not even a race driver partner. Look at the massive damage on the back there of Paul's car as well. After he's been driving so well, there's just nothing left on the back. And
you called it. I saw it happening on my screen very shortly before it happened. I was thinking, oh, this is going to go well. It did not go well. Rhys Saunders caught up in it. Paul Cowlishaw caught on it. Who would have guessed that Paul Cowlishaw and Rhys Saunders would be involved in an incident again? And it just looks as though, I don't know who's to blame. It looks as though there's a driver in the middle there who just taps the pit maneuvers. Paul Cowlishaw. Nothing he could have
Wesley's
done.
on a separate one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Paul Robertson, I think, was involved in this as well. So. Let's have a look. So Paul's on the outside here, you can see. So he's racing side by side, comes back on that contact there with the other Paul. And, you know, when there's always a little bit of racing and action going on there, the Reeses always generally tend to be involved as well, too, because it's a race driver. So there it is. That's going to pan it all out. They're going to go back into pit road and get that done. Guess who is in the lead of this race?
It is our, of course, former champion, back where he belongs, some might say, and he's doing a fantastic job there in that Mercedes AMG GT3. We've got an overtake there in the background as well. It looks as though it's Joe Glass getting past Mark Robinson. Mark Robinson there in the green. Joe Glass doing a fantastic job. P3 overall for the Pro-Am driver. We talked about this. You mentioned he had pace. He's definitely putting that on show in this heat, and I mean, the drama and the incidents with the other drivers definitely helps that out. Tristan Abrega has actually got past Rhys Saunders after that incident between him and it was, of course, Paul Robson and Paul Cowlishaw. Rhys Saunders will be maybe carrying a little bit of damage, but he looked as though he got through it relatively unscathed. But Tristan took advantage of the opportunity when he saw it, and that means now that Rhys Saunders and Tristan are going to have a battle. We didn't see this in the first heat. He had his teammate there in the mix to defend for him, and now he's got to deal with Rhys Saunders himself. And I'm sure Luke Lucchese is telling him, be careful of this guy. He will put you into Mercedes.
Hold on tight. Get your popcorns fired up in the microwave, because this is going to be a showdown between these drivers. We're talking about battling for P5 and P6, but ultimately, you know that they're probably going to eventually catch Mark. Mark's in a different class, so you can't... Mark's no slouch, but you got to remember, you're in an AM class because it's different in your pace overall. These two drivers want to catch Aaron and Zelinkas up at the road there. And look at that, the traffic's coming into play there. Mark's going to be the one. If I was you, Mark, I'd get out of the way. Let these two gladiators go for it in the arena here at Hockenheim, and then sit back, watch and relax. And if I was actually him, I'd let him overtake and sit back a little further, because there's a good chance there could be some contact at play soon.
Looking to defend a little bit the Porsche in front. It's maybe a dive there from Tristan, but nothing doing. Rhys Saunders tries to take the opportunity to try and get a move done around the outside on Tristan. Nothing doing there. but these guys are definitely looking
Mark
at a
told
rolling
Mark, look at
roadblock
that. He's flashing
here
going,
at the
Mark, get out of
moment.
my way. Guess what, Trishan? He does not have to get out of your way. He's racing
pole position.
for position. Well, because he's in a slower category does not mean he cannot race his heart out. So I don't try to drivers do that. They say, hey, I mean, honestly, they say, well, all right, you are a quick driver. Maybe listening, as I said, a different racing category. But he does not have to. We're only saying that hypothetically up here because that's what I would do, myself, as just to not get into this tango. But there it is at the moment. He will leave it on the side. But he's still fighting. He's still fighting. That's great driving. You gotta love this. Welcome along, of course. And in that's actually gonna really annoy Reese, because Reese is gonna be, I want to get on boot. I don't want to squeeze on through, but no. Mark has put up a great fight there. Good on you, Mark. I like that one, mate. You are holding in there. You're holding your position. You don't want to lose anymore. You are leading the AM category. And we still have a lot of time to go and pit stops to go. And there it is. Reese will stop the inside there. Good on you, Mark.
Yeah,
Don't you
nice
yield to
move.
the bullies of the pro class.
Nice little move up the inside there in turn 1 from Reece Saunders as well. He's definitely not hanging about. He wanted that move, and like you say, he'll be seething in that cockpit as soon as he sees Tristan get through, and then he gets blocked behind. He's going to be bashing against the steering wheel, tooting the horn, flashing the lights, wiping the windscreen wipers. Anything he can do to get that driver's attention to say, just move, please. But of course, like you said, nobody has to move. You do not have to move. It's definitely in your own interest.
Same case right
to
now,
move.
isn't it? You got Daniel coming up here in the AM. Now this is the the Pro AM class, and there it is. So he doesn't turn on, allows Daniel to go up on the inside. That's Mark. He'll lose the position to Scotty as well. I think there it is. No, but
Scott might get a run here now on Daniel Nans into Mercedes corner because of the poor exit that Daniel Nans gets there as well. But nothing doing at the moment. It's too far for the multicoloured Porsche.
But this is the thing too, isn't it, mate? Like, Mark, remember, started on pole because of the reverse grid thing. He, as you know, nobody likes to be allowing cars to go through, even if it's not the same category. He's wanting to drive the pants off this one. He wants to keep the gap between him and Richard as much as possible. But the problem is that all of these cars are slipping through. He's looking up on his timing tower, though. He's telling him that, all of a sudden that 7-8 cars that he had difference is now dropped to we were looking at 4 or so. So he doesn't want to have these cars passing and then bring his main contender in this race, Richard, into play. So that's why he's putting up a fight, and you can absolutely agree with that one.
I mean, he definitely can't put up a fight. He wants to keep those cars between him, but the more he fights, the longer his time he spends side by side with other drivers on this track, the more time Richard Knight is going to make up on him. Because Richard Knight, 3.5 seconds, 4 seconds now, the gap in front of him. He's got plenty of clean air, running at his own pace. He doesn't have any of these dodgy laps where he's been overtaken by 2, 3, 4 people and being pushed offline. And Mark Robinson needs to think about the long game, really. Here, we're only 10 minutes down, third of the way through this race. We have got pit stops to go as well. And it looks like Kostrich going to get him here now into the hairpin. He's got a fantastic toe. He goes to the inside, and Mark is not fighting this one. Gives up the inside line, and the Porsche driver should get this done nice and easy. Gets
Porsche
slowed down.
Porsche, and so we'll see. Yeah, there it is. So that's good hard racing. And now I think at the moment now that they've done that, and there's a 3-second gap down the road there to Danny. So he's just got to get his head down there and keep up the pace there, I'd say, of Scotty, and then work his way through the field. So what is the situation? Well, there it is. Our race leader, Zelinkas, that I keep absolutely destroying his name, unfortunately, but he's well aware of it. Last season I did that multiple times, and he doesn't, I don't think he really worries too much. He's just like, well, I don't worry how you pronounce my name. I'm just going to show you how I can drive this car, and he has. That's 14 positions gained, once again, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, everybody out there, in a reverse grid scenario where we saw an incident early, didn't we? That's a great way. It's kind of like which stick are you getting drawn, man? The short end of the short sticks or the long sticks? It's just a gamble sometimes, but you've got to be at the right place at the right time, and he certainly is.
That's a skill in itself, though. First lap incidents are always going to happen, especially with grids with 40 drivers on. Plus, it's always going to be tight and tricky to find those spaces and those gaps. But it's a skill in itself to avoid those incidents, and it's no surprise that we see Reece Saunders and Tristan de Rombrega getting through those incidents almost repeatedly, with very little incident involved, very little damage, and they've managed it again, and they've both gained up massive positions. P4 and 5, and they're hot on the heels of Joe Glass as well. You've got to say, Joe Glass doing a fantastic job here. And Daniel Nance, you've got to say, Pro Am category, he's doing very well this season. He's getting consistent top 5 finishes. and he could be a dark horse for the championship come the end of the season.
Here he is at the moment too. Speaking of the man himself, Daniel Nans. You can see currently in P6. Now, that's just a little bit of traffic to go through at the moment. Reece Saunders is up the road there. Tristian, and now they're all catching Joe Glass that you mentioned. He's the man that's leading this category at the moment for the Pro AM under massive pressure. Now, will Joe do a similar thing to Mark Robinson? Will he just say, no, I'm not going to let you through? Is that going to start to annoy the likes of these two drivers behind them? Now, clearly, you can indicate catching them at tooth and nail at a rapid pace. But once again, this man does not have to yield. And Joe, if I was Joe, I'd say Tristian and Reece Saunders, find your way around me the best you possibly can. Please don't take me out. I'm doing my best because I'm leading my category.
Yeah, the next question to ask as well is, are Tristian and Reece Saunders going to be able... Tristian's in the pits now as well. He's going for the undercut. Reece has gone in. Sorry, so he's going for the undercut. We've seen him do this before, and it's worked massively well. He could be about to pull off another 200 IQ strategy. Maybe he's underfueled the car even in order to get this strategy pulled off. As Tristian does get past Joe Glass in the end, easy as he does it, now does he have the pace to close that 4.5 second gap to Auramas. He's got to get past Aaron Kirby as well. Aaron Kirby leading the championship.
Joe's going to go for that again, maybe. Look at this. He's got the toe there, and Joe's going to... No, he's going to lift off at the moment and tuck in behind. Maybe just to throw a little bit of dumping, because Joe, I don't know, Joe Glass for the Glass Tech Racing Team, he loves the spotlight, my friend, and why not? You're a performer on this fantastic stage here of the Evolution Sim Racing, and we'd love to put the camera at you, mate. You're always in there, but come on, bring it home, partner. That's what it's all about. As well as another man here, isn't it, Scotty? The Scotsman himself. He is always another one that's loving the camera, loving the spotlight, and loving racing. He's got Daniel Nuns up the road here to deal with, and this is racing for class too, remember?
Yeah, and class and position, and these guys tight in the championship. Daniel Nuns in 3rd place, Scott Kostrich in 5th, and got no Nicholas Newton's quite a far down in this one as well, and Matty Hyland as well. Matthew, I hope he doesn't mind me calling him Matty. Down in P25 as DXT Live saying in chat, not a great start for DXT. Certainly isn't. It's not gone their way at all. 25 5th place, 14-second gap to Luke Lucchese there, who's had a terrible second heat here as well. I imagine he got caught up in here. Scott Kostrich goes for the undercut then, so not trying to get Daniel Nans on track, trying to get him in the pits.
Yeah, why not?
It'll be interesting to see whether Reece can do that to Tristian as well. Tristian has gone around again as well, so he's going a bit longer, going to maybe run the tank dry and go for a splash and dash at the end. But just to remind the viewers, you do have a mandatory pit stop. You've got to put at least 1 litre of fuel in, and a lot of drivers will maybe opt just to go for splash and dash at the very end, just go in, top the fuel up with 1 litre and off the go again, especially if the track is short enough, which I think Hockenheim will be, for the 45 litres that they get allocated to go the full 30 minutes. But some drivers, Reece Saunders may be one of them, may opt to just underfuel the car for the first stint, go in halfway through, and then again have less fuel in so they can consistently get those quicker laps in. Fuel, of course, definitely makes a difference in these sim racing games. It's very little difference lap on lap, but it's a 10th here, it's a 10th there, and if you get that right and maybe you put less fuel in overall in your car because you've done the better pit stop strategy, it could gain you that extra half a tenth, especially if you get a big undercut like Reece Saunders has gone for here. That could be the difference between a position and not a position. If you get the track position over Tristian here, it could be that he could defend that position till the end and win the position because of it.
Oh, this is a little bit of argy-bargy between these two drivers at the moment, and they had certainly gone for it. I apologise for the overlays at the moment. It's, things are starting to break a little bit more as it's trying to handle this fantastic racing league and fantastic racing cars and all the information that's been thrown tooth and nail at me in us, of course, in the commentary box here, as we've got a bird's eye view of a Aaron Kirby going at it there with Tristian. Tristian gets the job done, so he makes his way up into P2. Still yet to box these drivers, of course, and most of them, Daniel Nans goes in currently at the moment, and I'm going to fire that cameraman. But, yeah, there we go. So we got a few of the other drivers. So, essentially, Reece Saunders is the man leading from the pit stops. He's the one that's taking a pit stop. Everybody else ahead of him has not. And that's all going to come down to that track map information, which thankfully is showing up again there. So, I was trying to get that information there to you before, but unfortunately, it didn't quite work. But look at this. Daniel Nunn's come out into a gaggle of cars that are still yet to box and all the other situations. Some have, some haven't. I'll show the information in just a second.
So yeah, that is going to be a big disappointment there for Daniel Nance. You want to go into the pits, come out in a nice big group of clean air, and he's come up with a nice big group of gearboxes that he's got to navigate his way through. And these guys are in his category, so they're not necessarily going to move out of the way as easily as some of the other drivers have for him, such as Mark Robinson. But Tristan Brega showing his pace here. He's managed to get that P2 off Aaron Kirby with minimal fuss. DXC says, never mind, it did actually sort itself out in the end, but that is just the nature of this job. Sometimes our software causes us more problems than it fixes, but it generally fixes itself. Usually once cars go through another timing tower so that it can realise what's going on. But look at this, we've got on your screen there, just temporarily, but we'll maybe go back to it, the positions gained, and it's Danny Switzer has managed to gain a lot of positions. Richard Knight gaining 20 positions overall. Biggest loser here is Wesley Van Rens, who's out of the race, 32 positions lost. Peter Cox also out of the race. He had such a good first heat as well. Decided to give up on it after a first incident there. Danny Switzer goes into the pits. We've got Nicholas Newton in there with a big amount of damage there as well. Sometimes I think that can sometimes just be the fact that the fast repair doesn't show the repairs on
it's
the
cosmetic, yeah, because I was going to say,
cosmetic.
Having a whole front end missing like that, and your radiator, essentially your engine's pretty much sticking out. He's doing a pretty good job there for the Scuderia Italian driver, not even boxing as well. That's just a visual thing, yeah.
Engines in the back, mate.
That's right. Oops, my bad. I was just seeing if you all paid attention out there. All right.
Yeah, that old, the old teacher. I was testing your trick, eh?
Yeah.
I've never heard that one before, but engine in the back. So yeah, definitely keep going. But you wouldn't be going this quick or taking corners at that speed with that damage. So maybe it's just a graphical glitch. Those can definitely happen, even in some of the best sims, such as iRacing, which usually very few and far between those kind of glitches, but we definitely see them,
isn't it? It's not like the F1 arcade game. We won't go there. All right, you don't get to drive in T-Cam, gentlemen. This is the camera angle that you drive in when you arrive in a real sim. Let's ride on board with Tristan at the moment. He's going to be upshifting, so third gear, fourth gear. What you see is what you get. This is what he'll see. And if he gets bugs and all that sort of stuff, including that windscreen wiper that I always find very, very annoying, and it always reminds you of Halo in Formula 1, doesn't it? But it's there, and I'm sure Tristan's not focusing on that at the moment. He's focusing on the braking mark at the 50. Swing it to the right hand. Almost full steering lock, of course. They get on the gas there, swing it over to the left. What about this? You've driven these tracks before there.
Yep, Hockenheim, one of my favourites. And one thing I haven't mentioned about Hockenheim is its track limits. There are lots of places you can go over the track limits. It's very easy to muck up a few of the heavy braking zones here as well, but it's a very fun track. As we see here, Rhys Saunders going for the send there on, it wasn't in fact cake bread, I believe it was a back marker.
It was Matthew Jones, I think.
Matthew Jones in the Pro-Am category there. So he's getting what he needs to be getting done. Everybody in front of him has to pit as well, and only being 17 seconds behind Aaron Kirby, you get the feeling he's going to jump Kirby in the pits when Kirby does eventually come in, as long as Matthew Jones there doesn't punt him up the rear, which is very close to doing so. There on your pictures, we've got Richard Knight on your screens at the moment, though. He's got plenty of clean air in front of him, but he's got Bauer behind him, giving him something to think about. But different categories means that it's a little less pressure. So 20 minutes gone here in Hockenheim, and this Bavarian battle is proving a feisty one, to be honest. I still can't tell who's going to win this. Tristan Brega has been heavily denting that gap between him and Aramas as well. And Paul down in P28 is fighting with Paul Robson, the man who punted him into the barrier. The guys are at it again. They've both been into the pits. They've both got the fast repair route. And Paul Cowlishaw, we know what he's like as well. We saw it all last season. He was in tussles with Rhys Saunders left and right last season. And one thing we noticed from this guy as well is that once he's been in a tussle with somebody, he tends not to give them even an inch of space after he's had an incident. This is like a chapter,
isn't it, of a story that you want to read at the moment and come back and look at that one, because you know you were like, the book's going to end with what will happen, and then stay tuned for the next round, and that's exactly the situation that's going to happen. It looks like Aaron Kirby there, Matthew Jones and Rhys Saunders have passed Aaron Kirby because he's come back in and out of the pit road. So there it is. As explained, Aaron Kirby now P6, but second of the drivers in the top 6 that have made a pit stop. Reece Saunders still isn't there. It's going to be very interesting. What is happening with our last year's champion? He's got a bit of traffic coming up the road. There is Tristan behind him. Now, they're going to be looking at making some pit stops soon because we're 22 down. We're, well, give or take about 8 or so minutes left. They're going to make that call soon, isn't it? It's going to be studying your engineer. They're listening to them going, all right, so what they'll be studying, what times is Reece Saunders doing? What lap times is Reece Saunders doing? Last lap Reece Saunders did is a 38.6.5. Last lap from this man, a 38.6.4. So it's all even Stevens at this point. So they're matching pace. But what about
Reece Saunders overtook people with that 38 though, so I get the feeling he's got more pace in his locker. Aramas though needs to pull some pace out of his gym bag because Tristan is catching him hand over fist. Joe Glass goes into the pit lane. He's having a fantastic race so far. I'm touching wood because I don't want to curse the man, but that is probably going to be the world's greatest commentator's curse ever. As Tortless is in chat saying Zilly is the MVP. Zilly being, of course, Aramas, the man in the lead at the moment. Yeah. I've got a feeling that Reece Saunders, I think he's made another position up after Joe Glass comes into the pit, but he's putting in laps. He is making up time. It's 23 seconds the gap between him and Aramas, 22 seconds between him and Tristan, and he's already done his pit stop as well. Is that going to be enough? These guys are losing around 20 seconds, 20.
He comes the boss man as well, too. Sorry to cut you off on that one. He's going to gain a couple of places there because of the pit stops. That's exactly right. I don't know if you call Reece Saunders the Schumacher-esque, the mastermind of pit stops there, pit strategies. It's paid out for him before. He's won many races because of that. It's not always generally about sheer pace. So we can talk about sheer pace when drivers are actually matching on pace. Then it comes down to sheer strategy, and that's where Reece Saunders comes to play. So we'll see if the mastermind, the champion from last season, is going to respond to that. He's got traffic up the road, and that's one thing you want to be like, okay, are they going to just let me through? We've seen that before, haven't we, for some of the drivers to say, no, I don't have to. But if it's lap cars now, which it is, and he's in. Here it is. It's in. Now, what's going to happen? Will Tristan follow him? Yes, he does. He does.
He's following him. So Aramas can't get the undercut on Tristan because Tristan gets the opportunity to see what he's going to do. So that's that done. Let's see how long they're going to be in the pits for as well, and where Reece Saunders is in relation to them as well. Reece Saunders,
final corners.
Final corners. Is he going to take the lead? I think he is. I think he's going to get it done.
There's Linkers coming out now.
Very, very quick pit stop from him then, and Tristan's still in. Exit.
Oh, bad stop. Yeah, Reece Saunders is going to come around the corner right now. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a better view of this one. There it is. Exit speed coming out there. Tristan will have it, and they're going to be back at it for another battle for the round of 5 minutes to change. So Zelenkas has pulled it off. He's done it. He's matched the speed. He's in the lead of this race. He's got a very comfortable gap of 12 seconds.
How is my question? How has he done this? Oh, he's not fueled the car. He's pulled up. He hasn't fueled the car.
Oh, no. That's the worst thing could ever happen, isn't it? I was wondering what was so quick of a pit stop. You saw that in and out. Blindingly quick. A little bit of a mistake. He's going to be fuming at the moment with his team. What have they done? I mean, I was going to say, this is like an old Ferrari pit stop moment, isn't it? But Ferrari, of course, have picked up their game since then. But that is devastating to the man that was coming back on a charge, our last season champion, now out of this race. And now Reece Saunders is going to be up here on Tristan. Reece Saunders like, I've taken a week off, partner Tristan. I want to bring it. This is going to be a showdown to the end of this race.
Well, at the very least, we're going to see a absolute fantastic battle here for the win. Reece is not going to give this win up. You know what this guy's like. He does not give up a win that he can see there. But is Tristan going to be able to get away from him? He seems to have some epic pace here as well. But I feel so bad for Aramas. That is a horrible, horrible thing to go wrong. And I'm going to place full blame, unfortunatally, on Tortless 7.
Snap of Umstead for Reece as well.
He said Zilly the MVP, and then moments later, the MVP...
Yeah, you cursed him.
You cursed him, man.
He was reading the chat, wasn't he? And forgot to put the gasoline in it. I mean, granted, the team forgot to put the gasoline, but you have to tell your engineer to do that. And I would have loved to see that 3-car showdown at the end. I'm sure we all would have, but at the moment, we're going to have a 2-car showdown.
I'd love to hear the team radio from Zelinskas there too. His pit wall. That's what I want to hear.
It'll just be
Casey as well.
Yeah. That's all that'll be, mate.
Yeah. Otherwise known as the Max Verstappen special. But yeah, battle here for Resources and Tristan. It looks like Tristan's got the gap already. He's got the second gap there. Tristan's going to have to put the pedal to the metal now and try and extend that gap. Rhys Saunders doesn't seem to have an answer. Is this going to be the first? Have Rhys Saunders got real solid competition now? It's going up, believe it or not. So it could be that Rhys Saunders has finally met his match. He's going to really need to work on those race starts if he hasn't got the race pace to keep up here with Tristan, who's gained 19 positions here this evening in this reverse grid second heat. And he's done what is commonly referred to as a Rhys Saunders. He's sized through the field like it wasn't there, and he's going to take the win from P19. And what a fantastic win that would be from him as well. As we've got a battle here between Matthew Jones and Mark Robinson. Different classes, of course, so won't be too heavy a battle. But Mark Robinson still thinking mainly about Richard Knight behind him. Big gap there between them, but Richard Knight, 17 positions gained to get a P2 here. And Matt Barnett, 12 position gained to get a P3. What a fantastic race from them. And kind of takes a bit of the sour taste out of Matt Barnett's mouth from the first race, where it didn't go his way. He maybe has a chance to kind of collect some heavy points here to try and stay in charge of the championship. But Mark Robinson, his main competitor, only 30 points behind him in the championship, is going to win this one by the looks of things. As we get down now to the very, very business end. We've got 1 minute remaining of Hockenheim here. And this battle between the front two, it's over. Tristan has left him for dead. He's got no answer to this pace. I'm wondering whether or not that's maybe down to a little bit of damage that Rhys Saunders had, and because of the incident that he got involved with Paul Cowlishaw and Paul Robson in Mercedes-Benz when they took each other out. He got caught up in that a little bit. Maybe there's a little bit of damage to the car there, and that's causing him to lose a tenth or two of pace. But at the moment, it looks like Tristan's just got this in the bag. He's got Rhys Saunders' number, he's got his postcode, he's got his address, he knows how much the man weighs, and he's got it all filed away for future reference. It's another fantastic showing from Tristan, though. Dina Brega is proving that we're going to have a real battle for the championship in the pro category. We've got those battles running up and down now. This categories available for everybody to race in here is giving us some fantastic racing. We're getting different winners every week, and here's the checker flag as Tristan comes around the final corner. There he is. There's the start finish line.
Yes.
Takes the win. Rhys Saunders with a fantastic race week. He gets a P3 and a P2.
What about Joe Glass?
What a finish for him as well. Some absolute fantastic drives from the Pro-Am category. Only 3 pro drivers have beaten every Pro-Am driver. We've got there as well Mark Robinson winning the Am category as well over Richard Knight and Matt Barnett. And it's Scott Kostrich and Daniel Nance gets the P3 there at the very death. We saw that there. 200ths of a second between him and Danny Switzer. And what a finish it was there for Daniel Nance, getting P3. That's going to be huge for his championship charge. He's doing very well in the championship. And he's beaten all of his main rivals. The 2 people above him were Matt Hoyland and Matthew Jones. So he's beaten all of his main rivals. Only 27 points separating between him and P2 means that maybe he's going to gain some big positions here in the championship. What a fantastic race week we've had here at Hockenheim. It delivered this one, did it not? We had lots of overtakes, lots of action, lots of incidents, and another one in the bag, and big points and big swings for lots of people as well. Luke Lucchese, P18 overall here in this heat. It's not gone his way again. The man is getting caught up in one too many incidents. He needs to try and clean that up a bit. But that reverse grid certainly didn't do him any favours. But Tristan de Brega, man of the moment, he's got something in his blood that lets him get through those fields of traffic with very little incident. Definitely one to watch for future
something
races.
in the air tonight, right? There it is. There's your final results there, of course, pending those penalties and all that sort of stuff that's sorted out later. If you'd like to go through those there for us, Stephen.
Certainly do. Tristan de Breda, of course, wins it. Podium pace for Rhys Saunders with a P2. He was in the battle there, but just didn't have the pace to get it in the end. Aaron Kirby, leading the championship going into this race, gets a lovely P3 here in the second heat. Joe Glass, fantastic race from him. P4 overall, and wins the Pro-Am category just by keeping his nose very clean and racing hard with some of those pro drivers who were getting past. Scott Kostrich gets P2, and Daniel Lyon gets P3 at the death by 200ths of a second. What a finale that was between him and Danny Switzer in P7. Matthew Jones ends up in P8. Mark Robinson with a fantastic result here as well. That's the second race in a row an ARM category driver has finished P9 to win the category. James Bostock with a P10. You've got to say he's had a week to remember as well. After a couple of poor showings in Spa and Le Mans, he's finally come back to the table with something to show for his efforts. Big points for him. Stephen Cakebread, a couple of spins for him this evening, but P4 overall in the pro category is nothing to be sniffed at. That's big points for him. Richard Knight finishes P12 and Nicholas Newton in P13. Followed by Matt Barnett in P14. A weekend to forget for Matt Barnett. He was leading the ARM category going into this one. I get the feeling he's going to be knocked off that top spot after this weekend. Not one that he'll remember kindly. Gareth Newton rounds out the top 15 for the 1-2-4 driver in the Mercedes. We'll move on though from there. You can see on your screen the remainder of the results. We've got Paul Cowlishaw and Ewan Stitchbury with bad results there this evening, and Luke Lucchese not getting things his way. Matthew Hoyland down in P20. He would have expected better in this one. Didn't go his way. And Rob Mackay for DXT Motorsport as well. P21 for him. But we'll move on to some interviews as we show you some replays in the background. We shall bring in, who shall we bring in? We'll bring in Matt Barnett. I don't think we've interviewed that man there. So Matt Barnett, you're in the interview booth, and we'll welcome you. It's not been your day this week, is it that fair to say?
No, evening lads. It was a bit of a stinker tonight. It's not a track I've really enjoyed, to be honest. I was very uncomfortable with the car. Got caught up in a couple of lap 1 incidents, both races. Made a few mistakes in the first race. Was fighting through the field in the second one. But yeah, it's one of those events. It's always a tough track. It's quite narrow as well. So the minute someone has a bit of an incident, especially on lap 1, it's very hard to avoid them.
Certainly is very hard to avoid them, but definitely places you can make overtakes here as well. But coming into this race, you were leading the championship in the AM category as well. I get the feeling there's a good possibility that you're going to be knocked off that top spot after this week. How do you feel about getting that top spot back? Next week's Daytona?
Oh, I think Mark will be top, won't he? After tonight, a P1 and a P2. He's done well. He deserves it. I feel a bit bad for taking that win away from him last week, but I'm not complaining.
There's a win on the table. You've got to take it, my friend.
Absolutely. But yeah, he done well. He deserves to be top. To be fair, he held on for a good result tonight, and I'm just going to be gunning for him at Daytona, I think.
Ooh, fighting words there from Matt Barnett. Mark Robinson, keep your eye on that rearview mirror. We'll let you go though, Matt. Thank you very much for your time. We've got a lot of interviews to get through though, but thank you very much, and you enjoy the rest of the evening.
Cheers.
Have a good one. We'll move on then to Mark Robinson. It's a fantastic week for you, Mark Robinson. A P1 and a P2. You're almost deservedly going to take, this is the words of your main rival, Matt Barnett, deservedly going to take the lead of the championship after this week. You must be very pleased.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with it. I'm not going to lie. It's quite unexpected, to be honest. It's I only downloaded the track 2 days ago, so yeah, it was quite unexpected. I've got hats off to some of the other drivers. So, geez, some of the pace today was ridiculous in free practice. I did some of my best laps, and I was still down in 30th position. I was like, wow. Like the pace in this lobby is unbelievable. There's some great drivers.
Definitely is. A couple of those, and there's a few of the guys in the pros just make it look effortless as well. They can even get those fastest times while overtaking people. But Matt says that he's going to be gunning for you next week at Daytona. How confident are you that you're going to be able to hold on to that championship top spot and take home the trophy?
Well, there's a long way to go yet. There's still a few tracks that I haven't visited, so there's a lot to play for. There's nothing said and done until the last checkered flag and the last lap at the end of the season, so there's still a long way to go. and I'm certainly not underestimating him. That's for sure. And I'm also looking at Richard Knight as well. He's slowly creeping up with a couple of podiums in the last couple of races. I've noticed him on the board. So yeah, and also Cox. Is it Cox or Cook? He's got that's it. Nathan Cook. I mean, unless he gets tangled up in the races, it's going to be very hard to beat him. The guy is just unbelievably quick.
Mark, I have a quick question at the moment. Now, obviously, the reverse grid, you had the opportunity of starting on pole. How does that feel when you have these other drivers in other classes behind you, going to be hunting you down? But do you give a motivation to go a little bit quicker because you are on that pole? You have the clean air.
Yeah, I'll be honest. It does give you a bit of motivation, and also it allows you to breathe a little bit easier into the first couple of corners because you know that the guys behind you are more experienced than what you are. If that makes any sense, because they're obviously a bit more polished because they've finished higher up the grid. So it's actually quite overwhelming but relaxing at the same time. So it's a bit weird.
We're looking at the replay right now after a couple of laps, and you can just allow Zelinkas through right there. So that's the first time you had to yield that position. But yeah, as you said, mate, it's you got the clean air there. And are you thinking also like your main AM contender and your class further back?
When I've got cars coming up behind me, I am not. The first thing I look at is the number. If it's a 3-digit number, I will let you pass, but not at the expense of my pace. I will let you pass, and what I will try to do is I'll try to cling on to you for as long as I can, and hopefully you'll try to drag me up the track a little bit further. So there's a lot of tactics that you do have to consider while racing.
And Stephen and I think we're talking about this one, wasn't it? You were putting up a hard battle, weren't you, against Tristan and Rhys Saunders that were coming up, and I think even Tristan was flashing his light saying, "Get out of my way," but you didn't have to, right?
Yeah, at that moment in time, I was more considered about a couple of guys back because I noticed that one of the AM drivers was closing. I think it was Richard Knight. He'd pulled 2 seconds back in a couple of laps. So what I decided to do was just take my line at the moment. If you're not close enough to get up on the inside of me, then you'll have to wait your turn. So that's the way I see it. I had track position and I was technically, although he's a much superior driver, I was leading. So I was ahead of him on the track. So it's his job to get past me. And obviously I make as much room as possible to make it easier for both of us.
Yeah, some top advice there from Mark Robinson for multi-class driving. Is definitely a lot to think about in terms of your race position, your track position, who's around you and things. But we'll let you go though, Mark, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks a lot, mate. Great broadcasting, by the way. Fantastic job, guys.
Thank you very much. You enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a good one.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.
We've probably got time for one more interview, do you think, Biggles?
I got some for a couple more if you want, mate, partner, but it's completely up to you. It's been
we'll do one more quick one. I think we'll do. What do you? I'll let you decide here. Do you want to go with the race winner, or do you want to go with Aaron Kirby?
Well, I mean, it's a difficult one. Kirby's getting 8 positions, and Trishan. We spoke to. Well, we can do both. So let's get Aaron real quick there, if you don't mind.
Yeah, we'll just do two very quick ones. So, Aaron, welcome to the interview booth. Thank you very much for your time joining us here. Good race, 2 good results, and the consistency keeps coming. You seem to be banging in top results week after week, and you should still hopefully be in charge of the championship after today. But how are you doing it? How are you getting these consistent results?
Yeah, hi guys. Yeah, to be honest, Monday was the first time I'd ever driven this track, and I was literally gritting my teeth the whole way round. I don't know how I got those results. It's just my method of steady, keep the pace steady and avoid the carnage. It just seems to work, and it's paying off.
That's an age-old adage in racing, that consistency is key, and if you can do consistent laps at your pace, even if there are quicker drivers around you, you will gain points on them. And we saw last season with Auramas Zilinskas, he rarely had the pace to win the race outright, but he won the championship overall just because he was always there. Are you thinking about that, or are you just thinking about the next race at Daytona, and you're just thinking, I've got to be steady and clean for that race only? Or are you kind of looking at that trophy with thinking, it's got my name on that?
No, I really don't expect to be winning the trophy, so I just aim for top 10 every week if I can. If I'm top 10, I'm happy. If I'm not, oh well. But I've not got the pace of these guys. You know, look at Le Mans, look at Hockenheim Ring. I'm sometimes 1.5 seconds down on their hot laps, but they've not. I don't know if they haven't got the racecraft, or I'm getting lucky, or I'm just being patient. But whatever I'm doing, it's keeping me up there.
Yeah, whatever you're doing, it's working. So long may it continue. We've got to do an interview with the race winner still, so it was just going to be a very swift one for you there, Aaron. But I wish you the best of luck there at Daytona next week. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Bye bye.
We have actually lost Tristan. We're using a different channel, so I'm just going to drag him from that one.
Drag him
anyway. I'm just going to drag him anyway. Sorry if we've taken you from a conversation there, Tristan, but we need to interview the race winner who gained 19 positions there in that second heat race as well. And the main moment I want to talk about is just in front of you, you saw a big crash happening between Paul Cowlishaw and Paul Robson. And they took each other out, and Rhys Saunders got caught up in it. And you managed to get through because of that. Talk us through that incident specifically.
Yeah, so I'm actually very impressed with how Rhys survived that, because it looked like he was a goner, and he managed to keep it on track. And coming through there, I was like, these three are definitely gonna die. And I was like, well, it's 3 positions. And then I was, like I said, super impressed that he kept it on track, which shows that he's got some proper racecraft and always trying to get out of the danger, which is a skill in its own. And managed to still get past him, and then he kind of hooked onto me, and he definitely was quicker. But during that stint, I just radioed him. I said, listen, let's work together, let's try and get past these guys, and then we can fight later. And that's exactly what we did. He then went for an early pit stop, tried to do a bit of an undercut, and then I went long. And when we came out from the pit stops again, obviously he was just behind me, but I think from the pit stop my tires were able to cool down a bit, and then those 2 last laps were pretty quick from me. So good racing, enjoyed it overall. Unfortunate for the start. Not cool to see big crashes like that on the start again. Obviously my teammate was involved, and some other big players, so it's a pity. But hopefully the stewards look at it and we can find maybe a better way of going racing in race 2. But otherwise, I think overall the racing again tonight was top class, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, we certainly had a lot of fantastic moves for our viewing pleasure here in the commentary booth as well.
That was? So my apologies real quick there. So I can probably show that they were in the replay. When that did occur, so I'm just trying to think about that one for a second.
Which lap was this?
The incident.
The crash. One thing that did come out of that crash as well is I do think Rhys Saunders did have a bit of damage there on his aero. We just saw that on one of the replays as well. So I think that may have been a factor in how easily you pulled away from him once you got through the traffic. You just left him for dead. Did you expect to do that after the battle that you'd been having with him all race, or did you know he had the damage?
I also had some damage from the start. So we were both carrying the aero damage, and then when I did get past him, I was hoping to drop him, but I actually didn't. It got to about 1.4, and then he started coming back. But just before he went to the pit stops, I think he was only about 0.6, 0.7 behind me. So obviously he went for a tactical move. I don't know if he got stuck in traffic after that, because he pitted quite early. And then I just kept my head down and tried to keep it clean. So.
I don't think you got caught in too much bad traffic. We definitely had some cars to overtake. But the biggest slice of luck from your point of view probably came when you saw Aramas pull over to the side after his pit stop and give up. Any idea what happened to him? Because we can't interview him, I'm afraid. But that must have been unexpected.
Yeah, so from my perspective, I feel terrible for the guy because I don't actually know what happened. But we went into the pits. He was probably about a second ahead of me. And then, I stopped in my box, and he kind of just kept cruising and didn't stop at all. And then left the pits, and then next thing I saw, I think it was in the hairpin, he stopped it and just left. So I don't know if he just missed his box or if he got a pit lane speeding penalty or whatever it was, but very unfortunate because he had great pace, and I think it would have been tight.
Yeah, just a final question then before we wrap it up, and you've got that's your 3rd win in this series. You've got some competition for that championship spot, but given your relative pace, you've got to be thinking about the top spot trophy, don't you?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm just taking it a round at a time. Obviously, I'm new to this league, so I'm still trying to figure out who the quick guys are. Obviously, Reese is up there, and the way this format is running, race 1 looks pretty good in terms of the way we competitive, but race 2 is the stage and very much just based down to luck. So yeah, I think if I just focus on round to round, try and keep it clean, we'll see where we land up at the end of the season. But yeah.
Best of luck. We'll let you go and start preparing for Daytona, but thank you very much for your time, Tristan.
No, thank you guys, and always great to speak to you, and enjoy your evening further.
I'll do my best. Thank you very much. We'll wrap it up there then. It's been another very interesting double heat race here at Evolution Sim Racing. We've got Daytona next, and that's going to be well, what's Daytona? It's a bit of a train, really, isn't it? It's a hard track to race at. We'll follow that up with Interlagos, then Watkins Glen, and then, of course, Silverstone to round up the season. Sign-ups are still open as well. We get newcomers every week, so if you want to get involved, the information's there in the description on YouTube. But thank you to everybody who got involved in chat. DXTV Live, as always, ever present. Great to see you supporting your team. But for now, from us, it's goodbye. Thank you very much for watching.